Hey guys, welcome to our podcast where it has to be said. My name is Elvis.
And I'm Denise.
Babe, so let's talk.
Oh boy, what are we gonna talk about today?
I don't know. We were talking a lot before we even pressed play on the camera. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Um, so we have been. Well, we didn't film a Spanish episode this week.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily because it was his sister that filmed with him. So I was like, she's not here to do it. And then this week has just been kind of crazy. So I guess it ties into what we want to talk about anyway. I think the constant struggles of a relationship, particularly for us, it's kind of like we find ourselves sometimes in this tug of war of who does what.
Oh, so we're talking about that subject. Okay.
That's what we were just talking about.
Okay, no, we were talking about a lot. We had different options of what we were going to talk about.
I know, but that was one of the main things.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. I'll let you start.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like you were shaking your head already, like in disagreement.
No, that's your guilty conscience, I think.
Shut up. I think that at least when it comes to us, I always feel like I always end up doing more or having to do more. Whether it's at home, just in general, like work, everything. It's just I feel like it falls more heavier on my lap than Elvis's. So sometimes it gets like annoying if I see him too laid back or chill and I'm like, there's nothing else for you to do in the house. And I think that causes most of our disagreements. I think that's really the only thing we disagree on now. Like at this point is like when I just start asking you or expecting you to do stuff.
So it's because of you.
No, it's mutual.
Well, I'm not, hey, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. Move this over here, move this over there. Oh, what are you doing? But we still got to do that. I'm never asking none of that questions.
Yeah, but I feel like
Or you don't hear me say, oh, I did more than you. Oh, but I'm doing all of this. No.
But I feel like for you, I don't know, I think it's because of it's a man thing. It's almost implied what a woman has to do or does.
This is all a double standard.
No, but like for example, like if I'm home, you're not thinking about what you're gonna eat because you're assuming that either I'm gonna make something or we're gonna order something or something's gonna be resolved somehow. You're not thinking about that. Versus if I wasn't home, if I was working in the office, you would be more proactive about maybe your breakfast, your lunch, and stuff like that to eat. But because I'm home, you're less proactive or you less take initiative because it's like the unspoken expectation that I'm gonna do it. The same way like if we both work remotely, he locks himself upstairs in the office and then I get stuck downstairs doing with my computer and having to manage Alina most of the day. Unless I have like a meeting that I can probably like fight for a few free time. But I think like it's like an unspoken expectation. So you don't have to verbalize it. It just ends up happening.
No, you said a lot of stuff fast. But let's go back a little bit because we got to touch those points. The first one you mentioned, it's always about a man or a woman. This doesn't have to do with a man or a woman. We want to set up certain standards for a man or a woman. Let's just take that out of the equation because we could both do the same thing, or we could do in the house. You could cook, I could cook. You could clean, I could clean. You could throw away the garbage, I could throw away the garbage. We both take care of our kids because not my kid or your kid is our kids. The whole thing about me working and not working and taking care of, that's the problem. No, it's the truth because you want to think, oh, I'm not home, so Elvis is doing breakfast, Elvis is doing that. Oh, because you see one of my posts of me doing food or not doing food. If you're home and I'm not doing your breakfast, could it be that there's no eggs? That there's no bacon?
No, Elvis.
Could it be? Excuse me. Wait. Is there a possibility that there's no breakfast or there's no food to make breakfast?
No.
Right? That could happen because.
But that's not the reason. It doesn't happen.
Babe. Let's do it as simple as coffee. You would rather wake up a little bit later so I can make the
Because I
coffee.
always have to do it.
And that's a great thing. But I cook too.
No,
Who cooks all the time in the summer in the grill?
you do.
And do
That's
I ever
true.
say, oh my God, I'm so tired of the grill. I'm cooking so much. No, because I'm not on a daily basis trying to figure out who puts in more. No, because listen, there's going to be days that you're going to want to put in more, and there's going to be days that you're not going to want to put in more
Yeah.
work, right? And we have to understand that. But you're in a daily basis trying to manage, and it's not even all with me. It's also with the girls.
Yeah.
Well, not the little one, because she's too little.
She manages me.
But no, but the oldest, you want to be like, oh, you did this, you did that. Like, listen, stop trying to micromanage
First of all,
everything.
you micromanage her more than I do. So
Yes and no, because
yes,
if you
you
ask
are.
her, check this out. If you ask her, oh, when I get out of school, who's gonna be home? Either mommy or papi or both. She gets happy when it's holding me because she knows that I'm not gonna tell her to do anything. Like she's gonna be laid back with me. We'll probably have lunch, watch something. So
And
you
then
can't
later
say that.
on, you're
later on
hammering
you
her.
get here, and everything
No,
changes.
that's crap. That's cap.
No, it's the truth.
No, it's not.
It's the truth. It's the honest truth. Actually, let's talk about food then. All of our friends know that I don't love cooking, but when I do cook, I love cooking.
Yeah, I hate cooking.
So exactly. So you don't see me, oh, I'm cooking more, or I'm doing this more. No, it's never. You're always trying to measure who's doing more. You got to stop doing that.
I
Look
don't
at even
know.
for the podcast. Look, right? I look for the equipment. Right, and I'm telling you this now. I didn't even tell you this before camera. I'm looking
Also,
for the
you
equipment.
lose now that the camera's on.
I gotta take advantage. Action, play. Let's go. It gotta be said. So it has to be said. So I looked for all the equipment, and you don't see me telling you all the time, hey, listen, I look for the equipment. Yet now you're stuck doing a whole bunch of shorts, posting all the videos and doing all that stuff. And now you want to be like, oh, Elvis, but you're not doing anything. You can't be
Yeah.
measuring everything that we do. It's not always gonna be all equal.
I mean, I'm not expecting it to be all equal.
Obviously, you are. You are,
No.
and you expect me to guess. I can't guess.
I always
certain stuff.
verbalize what I want. You cannot say you don't know what I want.
Sometimes,
cannot.
no. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you just do too much. You
Oh,
verbalize too much.
I think it's like, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. I think that generally, yeah, but I still feel like more falls on the mom.
No, it
There's
doesn't.
more.
What is
yes.
it that you could do as a mother that I can't do
No,
as a man?
I'm not saying that there's things that I can do more better or that you can't do as a man. I'm just saying that, like, unspokenly, there's just this expectation of
From who?
of women.
There's okay, but what other woman lives in this house
Just-
that is expecting you to do more?
I don't know. Maybe I'm
Okay,
expecting.
who has a camera in front of the house monitoring to see what Denise Barrios is doing in the house? Okay, what expectation is it that you're living? I think that it's all in your head,
Yeah.
and you kind of gotta let that go to the side because you have a man in the house that he takes care of the house and he does what he has to. I don't do everything because I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I am. I'm gonna do my part. Now there's gonna be days that you're gonna have to do certain stuff that I usually do because I'm having a rough time, and that's okay. Vice versa, it's the same thing with you. I'm gonna do stuff that sometimes I have to do. Now that sounds beautiful. Is it always like that?
No, it's not.
Usually when somebody got to pick up slack from one person to another, that's where the argument comes.
Yeah,
right?
because sometimes one or the other doesn't want to pick up the slack.
Correct.
Because what if we're both feeling off or not feeling like wanting to do anything? Then what?
That's a great question.
Which happens lately. It's been happening.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, it has.
We had disagreements. That's about it.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm a little bit more laid back. That's about it.
You're too laid back.
But this is me, babe.
I know.
This is
I feel like I be stressed.
you
feel like
stress
I
things
stress
too much. You
everything.
Go ahead. Yeah, you do.
Like
You
everything.
overthink everything. Listen, life
like-
is too short.
I'm so like I overwhelm myself so much to the point that sometimes I'm like, God forbid, like I'm gonna have like I don't know, like something that's gonna be caused of stress because I get so like I be overthinking too much and it's
You overthink a topic that we're gonna sit down here
yeah
and
I
talk.
overthink everything. I'm probably gonna see this later and overthink it. Like that's just how and
Or say, oh, how they gonna look at it, how they
And
gonna
it's
think about
not-
it.
I don't even know. And I think it's part of like my
You're the psychologist, so you should know how to
well,
diagnose your own self.
no, shut up.
Is
I'm
that
not a
the is
psychologist.
that the
I've studied mental health counseling. It
is
doesn't make me
that
a psychologist. I
is
need
that
certain
the
credentials
proper
for
term?
that.
No.
But a
What's the
therapist, counselor in training, I don't
okay,
know.
counsel. So counsel yourself.
We actually had at work once because we're understaffed, everybody's overworked, and I get very like stressed when I'm backed up. I'm currently backed up at work. I'm like it overwhelms me to the point that I think I bring that at home too. So I feel like maybe that's what it is too. That part of it's like I can't control the madness necessarily happening at work, but maybe I could have control of what's happening at home. Not realizing that I'm not even I'm not allowing it to be like a safe space at home because I'm just stressed all the time of the things that I need to do or what needs to be done next. But anyways, we had like a consultation with someone who is a psychologist, and we were talking about like me not knowing how to say no and always having like wanting to people please. And when she was saying it in my head, I'm like, nobody wants to hear that you're a people pleaser or that you worry too much about what other things. And I don't think it's that I do it because I feel like it needs to be perfect. Like, like I'm not obsessed with things being like organized
Yeah.
all the time and it needs to be to the T. But I think it's just part of like, I care a little bit of what people think. As much as I try to act like I don't,
Too much.
I do care. I'm not posting it all the time, like, oh, this person thinks this of me, or I wonder what this person thinks of me, and I'm not taking to literal
We're the opposite.
everything that people say, but I do take it to account. And I think that as a woman, growing up as a Hispanic woman, there were certain things that were customary to do. Like the house had to always be clean, like I had to always present myself a certain way. Like even like how we sometimes let Ellie go to school in pajamas. I would get like, I would still get away with it sometimes, but it was always an issue because that's not a way you present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of all that construct of what a woman should be. And then when I became a mom, all the pressure of like being a teen mom and having to prove myself, I think it still kind of trickles down a little bit on me now, unconsciously. I think that's really what it comes down to.
But you don't have nothing to prove. You
I know.
already have a teenager.
I know.
You
And no one sees what's going on in the house anyway.
That's
So
exactly
I'm
my
like,
point.
that's
It's
what I'm
like what's standard
I
or
don't
what?
know.
Who's looking at what? It's not like you get home and like, hey, babe, we gotta do this. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. No.
Yeah.
Like I think the words you use were perfect. This is our safe space.
Yeah.
And what happens in this house happens in between us. And we're the ones that are going to benefit out of what happens in this house.
Yeah.
That's why we have to protect it as much as we can. It's not about what we're supposed to do or not to do. No, this is home. Let go of your work. I turn off the computer. I'm done. Like I don't worry
Yeah.
after work. I don't take none of that home because that's only going to stress you out. Like I'm also backed up at work and I'm understaffed. I'm basically doing two roles, right? I'm an account manager, but I'm also intake staff, right?
Mhm.
I'm doing two roles at once. But after I clock out, man, like I don't want to even think about work. Not because I don't like what I do, because I actually love what I do, but I can't bring that home because that's going to affect my family one way or another.
I know. And I don't want to have to say this because it kind of, again, like contradicts what we were just talking about. But we also have two different jobs that are like my job affects me emotionally. Like it's a lot of working with families, a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some vicarious trauma to the job, versus I feel like sometimes I feel like now that I'm talking about it, I feel like sometimes I resent Elvis because I feel like he has it
That's the truth.
so
That's
much
what I.
easier.
That's what I read. That's what I read.
I feel
from
like
it.
sometimes it's like,
But it's not my fault.
I know, but you just make everything look so easy and graceful. First of all, he manages with Alina, the 3-year-old, so much better. Like she's just so much chill vibes.
She did great
You know
today.
what? She probably.
did great.
I'm here answering myself. She probably gets that energy that she feels that energy from me, and acts like all hyper. And
I don't want to blame you, but I want to agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
Because like even today he was home with her remote And she's like,
And I had 2 Zoom meetings today.
and he's like, she was great.
And she ate. She
And I'm
ate.
like, I could never have a Zoom meeting and have her in it because she'll try to come in and just, that's when she would want me the most. So it's almost like I resent him sometimes because he just does it so gracefully. Like he's just so laid back. Like I'll come home and everything's just calm vibes, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus,
It's
relax.
true. It's just chill. And like, even with work, I don't know, he just manages so well. And I'm just like, why can't I just get some of that? Sometimes I feel like I do, but lately I haven't been doing well with
I,
managing.
listen, I think I got that a little bit from church and work, right? Because I remember when I was the leader of the men's ministry, there was a lot of things going on at once,
Yeah.
right? You had campamento, retreats, campaña, actividad de dama, right? We had a lot of different activities at once, a lot of planning, a lot of different. I was dealing with a lot of different people as well, and I got stressed out for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I had to kind of relax and kind of take one day at a time because if not, it was gonna affect me. And I didn't want it to affect me because I was doing it because I believed in the ministry.
Yeah.
I loved the ministry. I loved working with the men and being able to help them in their spiritual life, their personal life, and even in business.
Yeah.
Right. And at work was the same thing. We had so many different projects because, like I said before, I'm basically doing a row of 2 different people.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times we have to work with different departments and usually everybody's pointing fingers. And I'm the guy that has the meeting and I just want to make everybody happy, right? I'm like, listen, let's not point fingers. Let's try to resolve the
Like
issue.
solution
Right?
focused.
Yeah, I don't really care of who did it, who dropped the ball, because really finding out who did it is really not gonna get us anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even today I was just talking with one of my colleagues about that. It's like you had a meeting and you guys spoke about so many different things, problems, but there was no solution,
Yeah.
right? So we could be going through whatever we're going on in life, right? And if we're not looking for the solution, then we're really not going to do anything.
Yeah. So you're trying to say I've been looking too much at the problem and not finding
No, I
solutions?
think you're taking too much of work. I know that your work is very important and it could get you stressed out. But when you clock out,
Yeah.
as much as stressful as it could be and as much as it requires from you, you got to let that outside. Once
Yeah.
you walk through that door in the front, like it's completely different. And you can't say that you haven't got treated well either. You had coffee, you had harina amarilla. I just got you flowers yesterday. Just because, right? So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you look at all the bad stuff or why he's so laid back or why he has all of this, but enjoy the good stuff. Look at the
Yeah.
good stuff. Look at good things that is happening around us. We had our daughter that recorded a podcast. Granted, I wasn't here to make sure it was recorded properly.
Shut
So
up.
the no, let's talk, all right? It has to be said, right? So you guys recorded an amazing
It was
podcast.
so good.
But excuse me, I'm still talking. But they forgot to press the record button, so it never got recorded.
The audio never recorded.
The audio, yeah. So the most important part of a podcast. So stay tuned. That's gonna happen
But you
eventually.
see, like, even in that, like, the simple task of just setting up, I couldn't even do right.
You were probably all stressed out. That's why. Like if it was me, I'd like, yes, I'm recording before your mother. Before I would have been so excited.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not the problem. We're just 2 different people. We have 2
Which is
different.
good. Imagine both of us laid back. Nothing will happen.
Never.
Or let's just say if we were all stressed as you were.
Oh my God. Can you
It
imagine?
would be a bomb.
Yeah.
Be horrible.
That would be horrible. And then we would probably be fighting about, I don't even know what we would be fighting about. We were both anxious.
It's crazy because after
And-
14 years married, we still run on issues. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like people think that you're married for 14 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you guys are not gonna have disagreements. You guys are not gonna have arguments. Disagreements are gonna happen. You guys are gonna argue. You guys are gonna disagree with a whole bunch of stuff. That's part of life.
Yeah. There's just things that you're not gonna like, right? Like, it doesn't take away that you love your partner, but there's just gonna be things like, man, if only he or she could do this, if only he could do that. But the reality is that we can't do it all. We really can't. As much as, I could have all these expectations of you, but it wouldn't be fair because if you actually had all those expectations of me, would I be able to fulfill it? Like, are there reasonable and realistic expectations?
And nobody's watching us.
I know.
Sometimes we feel like, oh, everybody's watching us, what they're going to say. Listen, forget about that.
I think nobody even worried about what we're doing.
No.
Like, and I think it's like como que your own head, conscience, or just, the things I think we see on social media, like the posts we see, everything affects and influences how we think or what we think should be of relationship and what consists of a relationship.
I just think that the disagreements are good, or not good. Nobody wants to disagree, but it can be extreme, right? There has to be a line of disagreements and us going back and forth on that, right? Because I can't have an argument and be like, I want to divorce you. I don't want to be with you. Forget about it. Just go your way and I go my way. Forget about it. You don't deserve me. I'm too perfect. Right? We don't want to get to that point.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you normalize having those type of arguments where you got to sleep in the couch or you're not going to sleep with me tonight and kind of normalize that, really, that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
If anything, you're kind of doing everything in reverse.
So I think part of it is just really like having these conversations about not feeling seen, not feeling supported, and kind of like literally hashing it out. You don't have to do it necessarily in front of a camera, but have these conversations. Like, look, like sometimes like I feel like maybe can you help me? Can you pick up the slack in this?
Let me ask you a question.
Oh,
I'll be honest. Now that we're talking here, do you feel better?
I do.
Right? It's crazy, right?
I do.
Because one of the things I said, we opened the podcast, we don't want this to be work. Like, I want to sit down here and really enjoy, really talk. And sometimes we're going to cry, yes, because men cry. I cry. I'm a baby, especially when it comes to the stuff of the Lord.
That's the only time I've seen you crying.
And I don't care. You could ask anybody in my church. They all see me cry.
Yeah, but that's it. I haven't seen you cry here.
You want me to cry here?
Yeah.
You got to give me like something emotional too. The point is, men cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. Just because you're a man, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't cry. If anything, I think women actually want to see a man cry.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think when you see a man cry? Or me? Or no other man?
I just think it's nice because it shows a different side of like your emotions.
Nice.
So it's nice to see that. The same way it's nice to see you when you're brooming, when you're doing stuff in the house. I enjoy that.
Let's slow down. Okay, let's stay in topic. Okay, I don't like when you kind of go away from the topic. Yeah, I gotta take a breather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's a process, I guess. I think we have to recognize when sometimes we are being a little too much, or at least be receptive to hearing, like, maybe you are stressing yourself out more than what you need to. Like, we got to learn how to choose our fights. Like, am I really gonna not talk to Elvis for a day or for the week because
when was the last
he refuses to, like, I don't know, wash the dishes or something? Like, I don't think it should ever get to that.
We always talk, right?
I guess.
Like, we always talk.
I mean, there's times that I don't. Like yesterday, was it yesterday? What day? Or Monday?
Babe, we talk at least once.
I know, but there was like one day of those 2 days, I don't remember one, that I was like kind of in a funk. So I really didn't talk a lot.
Really? Talk to me about that funk. I didn't know that.
Was it Monday?
I don't know. I think it was Monday through Wednesday. I think.
Today is Wednesday. Sangano. Sangano.
So tell me.
Shut up. I don't even. You see, you joke around and I lose my train of thought,
no,
man.
It's okay. I just don't want you to get emotional because I start crying.
No, I'm not gonna get emotional.
If I see you crying, but go ahead.
I'm not gonna get emotional. I don't even know where I was going at this point now.
It's okay. So just start over.
Me sacaste el hilo.
Start over.
Point is that in a relationship, I think you're always gonna go through this tug of war of who does what. It might not be verbally like, oh, I did this, I did that, but sometimes you're gonna get to a point like if you're not sharing that the load, the stress, how you're feeling to your partner, that you're gonna accumulate those feelings, and it's gonna leading to resentment. Then it's gonna lead to having disinterest in your partner. And this is I can see how long term not addressing this could lead couples to separating and no longer wanting to be with each other, especially in the side of a woman. It's like, thankfully you help overall with the care of the girls. There's certain things I still do that you don't really touch on. Thankfully, Alina's getting potty trained now. But there was like, diaper changes you never really were interested in doing.
Who likes to change
I
Pampers?
know, but there was men that regardless if it was a girl would still do it for
That
their
was my
partners.
excuse.
But anyways, but I'm saying, like, I can see how a woman after a while of, having to do so many things on their own and not having their partner listen and hear them say like, hey, I need help, I need support, that eventually it builds up, leads to resentment, it leads to disinterest, and you kind of fall out of love, not because you never loved that person, but it's like, man, you're not listening to me, you're not attending to my needs, you're not being that support that I need. So then what are you here for? So I can see how it can get there.
Yeah.
But I guess the important part of having these conversations early on or at any point in your relationship is kind of like figure out what chores work for the other. Elvis doesn't like doing laundry, so I do the laundry. Like, I already know off the back, I'm always going to be doing laundry, right? But finding out what chores your partner may prefer and what's priority. And I think that's what we try or been trying to implement is priority. Like, I don't have to be obsessed with cleaning the bathroom every single day, right? Like, it can wait 2 to 3 days or even a week, right? Depending on how the bathroom is. So, learning how to prioritize what's important, what really needs to be done, and learning how to be a little bit laid back. I'm learning that from Elvis.
You put some mantequilla on and you're
I
good.
do some days I do it that I'm like chill, but then there's other days that
It's like once a month or something like that. No,
that
so
I'm
good.
that I'm not as chill. So I think it's just having the communication to try to find that balance. We are working daily on that balance.
Yeah, we're always gonna have disagreements here
Yeah.
and there, and this is a work in progress, little by little.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other people that have probably been like, listen, I fight about this all the time.
And they're probably 20 years in.
So, but it's more about choosing your battles. Like, is this really worth me going to sleep so angry at him for? Is this worth ruining the 2 hours I have to spend with him, right? Because if I'm out all day working and I only have like 2 hours to unwind and relax with those before bedtime, is it worth compromising that time for being angry because something wasn't done in the home?
Ladies, don't fight with him.
Men, pick up the slack and pay attention to your woman.
I agree, and we always do more. It had to be said.
You're cutting up the conversation already. Well, there's probably going to be a part 2. So
Absolutely.
it was a good talk. I feel better. I think I almost had my own therapy
You did.
because I was like teary-eyed when we first started. But it has to be said, and it was said.
Take care, guys.